Steve and I have a 2017 Nissan Pathfinder here in the garage, and we're getting ready to change the spark plugs in it. So we've already gone through this truck, and you're going to want to set yourself about 2 hours to do this job. It took Steve and I about an hour and a half-ish, maybe a little longer to do the job, but in the driveway and stuff like that, I'd set myself aside about 2.5 hours to do it. Looks more intimidating than it really is. It's not so bad. We'll show you all the steps that need to be taken to change the spark plugs in your Nissan Pathfinder. Let's get rolling into this.
All right, so we're going to pop the engine plastic cover off here. And we're going to go after the spark plugs.
Which is a V6?
Yeah, so we got 3 coils here in the front of the engine that you can get to. 1, 2, 3, okay? And the other ones are buried underneath the intake plenum. We're going to have to take the intake plenum and the valve body all off this thing to get in there at the rear 3. So we're going to start with the front 3 right now. And we've got this clip right here that we can squeeze the tab, slide the clip off of, just slide it up out of the way. And we can do all of these clips right now. I'm going to get a little screwdriver. It's easy to pry it off. So you'll be able to hear the click, the little snap there, and then you just slide this off. These are pretty tight. This one, the harness is kind of covering it. So you heard the clip, and you kind of got to keep your finger on it. So, and then get it to slide back. Okay, now it's back. That one's tight. Because of the harness, it's pretty tight. And then you got 3 10mm bolts. 1, 2, 3 that hold them in place. We're going to get a 10 to take them out. I'm going to take these 10s off. Take that up. I'll set all of these up here. Okay, I'm going to pull the coil up. Okay, we got 1. 2. Looks like you got a little mouse that was in here or something.
Yeah, huh? How about that?
So you got some padding here that's loose. And this could have just fell off the engine cover, but a little mouse could have got in here too. So I'm going to pull that up out of there. We got the last one right here. Okay, that one. All right, let's get our spark plug socket. They're really way down in the hole. Look at how far down that.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Let's see if I can get in there. Yeah, that's way down there. Yeah.
You got the new plugs? Okay, this is a 9/16 socket. They're not a traditional 5/8.
Isn't that kind of tight?
Yeah. Plugs are way down, kind of like a Hemi motor.
I have a feeling these back ones are going to be fun.
Yeah, once we get the intake plenum off, it's going to be probably most of the work, so. Okay, we got one plug out. We're going to check the gap and let you know what the gap is. All right, so we got our new Champion plugs, and the gap is 44. So just get them over here and we roll them out. It's not a race car, you just got to get them close. Okay, so we're close to that. We're going to do 3 of them. And we did the other one already. Do this one, and then we're going to put a little never sees on the threads on them, like we normally do. So this one's starting off here, 30, so 40. We'll roll it off and we'll keep going until we get it close. There we go.
Can we stop for me to show like a close up of? So that's where we're at on this the gauge. So we're at like 44 thousandths is what this calls for the spark plug.
Yep. Okay.
It's not an iridium plug. It's just a regular Champion plug.
Yep. All right. So we're gonna get some never sees on it. We're gonna silicone spray our boots and put a little dielectric grease. So let's get our system set up here. Go over to the boots. We're gonna get our coil boots ready. We got our silicone spray. So we just put a little dab inside our boots.
What this does is it'll help prevent moisture from building up in there.
Yeah, I just need a little bit.
Not a lot, just a little tiny bit.
Yeah, and I keep them in line, so I'm putting them back in the same one. Okay, that one. Same thing here. And what I like to do is we take the silicone spray. I usually go over the barrel, and we're going to spray the boot on this thing. I'm going to do every one of them. And then you just let it dry. And we're keeping this moist, and this will protect it from arcing out. If the boot gets dry and it splits, then the coil can fail, it can arc out. So we always do this. So we're going to do the other 2, and then we're ready to put never sees on our spark plugs and start reinstalling our plugs. Using a shorter extension because we couldn't get by the fuse box here. So I might need my flex ratchet to get a little more leverage here. These plugs are really tight. They've been in the whole time.
Yeah, so this truck has, I think it said 93,000 on it. So you buy these new trucks or cars or whatever it is, and they tell you to go 100 grand on the plugs. So back in the day, it was never that way. We changed them out like 40 grand.
Yeah, and you live in New England, so you don't have optimal driving conditions.
Nope.
You know.
Well, we live in New England. We probably don't.
Yeah, I can't get these ratchets off my extension today.
Sticking on there.
There it is. I'm going to take it out. So we got this plug coming out, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to never seize it. You want to inspect your plugs to make sure none of them look fouled. So look good there. I already got it never seized and gapped. We're going to go over and slide this one in. Okay, I'm going back down into the hole here. These are tough areas to get in. So we're threading it by hand. It's a lot of threads, so we'll come back to you as soon as we get it snug. And this one we're using like a 6-inch extension, and we used our flex head ratchet to get it out.
Yeah, I made it a little bit easier on the angle.
Yeah, there's a lot of threads. It's a tight area, so. Okay, we get that one snug down. Let's see if we can go into this one. That fucking box is right there, huh?
Is it really? Right in your face.
Just won't let you get the ratchet down there.
Just freaking notch it out with the Sawzall. There you go.
Okay, so we get the last of the threads on this one. All right, let's get a new one, put this one in. This plug looks like it burned well as well. Very good.
Yeah, let me see. That looks pretty good.
All right, let's go through this. Remember, these are 9/16 sockets. They're not 5/8 traditional.
Okay.
So it's just it's the smaller one.
All right.
Why did an engineer have to do that? Why not? Right?
To make your life easier.
Okay, so we're getting this one started, and there's a million threads. So, all right, I'm gonna tighten up that last plug here. Okay.
Stuck on there.
Well, I have to get my ratchet out. Yeah, where's that little? Oh, here it is. For some reason, my ratchet don't want to come off this extension today, so I'm just prying it off because it hits the air box when it comes out.
No,
So,
I gotcha.
okay, so we've got our coils all set up, put back on. They've been sprayed, and they had a little dielectric grease lube in there, so we can just take them, slide these all down in place, and then we can plug in our electrical connectors. Okay, I got this connector here. And you'll hear these clip when they lock back in place. You'll know that you have them. Hear that?
Yep.
Okay, so this one was a tight one. And I like to plug them in kind of before I bolt them down in case I need to pivot them a little bit. Okay, that one clicked. And then this one, plug this one in. Okay, all right. Now we'll get our, we're going to put some overseas on our bolts. Okay, so we never seized our bolts. We're going to put them back down into the hole. These harnesses are kind of like right in your face. Let me go with this easy one first. Okay, get that one tightened down. This one goes down in here. Okay, so we got to try and get these all to start first by hand. Okay, that one's done, and then this one. Okay, all right, so we're just gonna very carefully just snug these with your ratchet. I'm going to put a little quarter drive ratchet on them. I don't want to tighten these things. See, this one didn't start. I thought it did. Okay, there it
goes.
is.
I just heard it.
Have to move this little pad a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to snug these up. Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay, that one's good. Alright, we get this little booty to tuck back around here the way that was. Okay, so we've got our things plugged back in. Connections plugged in. They're all bolted down, never seized. The plugs were all put back in and gapped and tightened down. So we got the first three done, and the next is to take this mess off right here.
All right.
All right, so we're continuing on our 2017 Pathfinder, and we got the V6 in it. We did the 3 front spark plugs, and we're going to do the rear, which are hidden underneath the intake plenum. So we're going to remove the intake plenum off of this thing, and we're going to show you how that's done today. So right now, a couple of preliminary things we need to take off is we need to take the master cylinder reservoir off. There's a couple of bolts here to take it. We're going to move it to the side. It's got a hose on here, so it should be able to, with the electrical connector, it's got the rubber hose here. We should be able to swing that right over to the side. We're going to get the air cleaner cover off with the Plenum snorkel that goes to the air cleaner. We're going to take this little fuse panel box off. It's got a couple of 10 millimeters here, and move that up aside. We need to get our hand around the back side to get a couple of hoses, and there's also a O2 sensor wire that's in a little clip in there that we need to unhook. So a lot of this stuff that you see on the front is going to stay connected. We're going to disconnect these electrical connectors but these hoses and all of this stuff, this is all going to come off with the Plenum, so it's not as crazy as you think it is. So, all right, we're going to start taking some stuff off. So we got a couple of 10s for the air box here. Let's get that off. Okay, get that out of the way. You know, there's probably going to be a good amount of bolts on this. You can throw some of your, set your bolts back in place just so you kind of remember where they go. So we got some 10 millimeters over here. We got one for the electrical box here. That's just a nut. All right, so we got our second 10 millimeter now. So we're going to try and lay this up out of the way because we need to get our hand down into the back side over here to get at some stuff, and we'll show you that. I'm going to take all the easy stuff off right now. We've got the master cylinder. It's got, and this is just a reservoir, not a master. So we got two 10s here we're going to take off. So I'm gonna just move this up out of the way here. Now we've got a connector here that we've got to snap and release. And let me get a little screwdriver.
See how that comes apart.
Yeah, you got a squeeze tab right here.
Okay.
But it's been on for so long, it don't want to move. So let me get a little screwdriver. Sometimes you can get the pick in, underneath and roll this connector up, but might be just a little stuck on there.
Yeah. So you push down the tab, right?
Yeah, and there it goes. Okay. All right, so we get that off. And it's got a little clip right here that's holding on to the harness. And I'm going to get my tool to take that off. On here, a pair of pliers we're going to get to take this off. We've got a couple of 8 millimeters here to take the snorkel off. I think we can take one off here and take this off, and we'll take this off as an assembly. And got the master up out of the way here. Let me get that clip. All right, so we're going to pry this off.
There you go. There, I can see better now. What's holding that on? Is it just pressed on there?
Push in.
It's just pushed in?
Yeah. Push in plastic clip. Like a Christmas tree type thing.
Yep. You should have a big.
Yeah.
So, there's it off?
We just broke the tire up to it, so not a big deal.
That's not a big deal.
All right, so we got this over here, and we got the two clips unclipped. I'm gonna take this off. that off. All right, we got our 5/16 or 8mm. Take this off here. Loosen that up. I should be able to get this all to come out in one shot. Okay. All right, so we're gonna tuck our master cylinders out of the way there. So we've got some connections here that we've got to, take off, right? So now I'm not sure if this is coming with the intake, and there could be a couple of coolant hoses here. I gotta follow these down in a second because I'm not 100% sure if these are coolant hoses, but these are gonna have to come off. And I got this electrical connector here that's gotta come off.
So a tune-up on this vehicle is a little bit of a deal.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a deal.
Not impossible, but not the easiest thing to do either.
No.
See, when I buy a vehicle, I check to see how easy it is to get at the spark plugs and everything else.
Yeah, that is. Some of these clips, man, they are tough to come off, and they're just Christmas trees.
There she goes. Yeah, that was a lot
Bolt
easier.
off of that. Okay, we'll sit down with that. And we'll squeeze this next one down. I'm going to use that little pick tool to crack the seal loose on them. Make sure they get enough tension on them. Okay.
Is this going to take long, Steve? The Bruins are on tonight.
Yeah, it's going to take a little bit, unfortunately, Tom. It's going to take a little bit.
My job here is to give Steve a hard time, guys. Oh, listen, I don't know if I'd buy this vehicle.
Okay, all right, so we get the two coolant lines off.
Okay, you pinched down pretty good.
Yeah, and they look like they're the same line, so we're going to put a little paint mark on this first one here.
Yeah.
So we know which side it goes on.
Sure.
And all right, so we've got this stuff disconnected from it, and that's all staying on it. This is part of so this has to come off right here. This little hose is going to come off right here, and that bracket is attached to that, so we want to get this clip out here. Slide this up and out, get this sitting off to the side. All right, and then that is so this is the fuel line that's coming into it. Not sure if I have to take that off yet, because that bracket. No, I shouldn't have to take that off. So I think there's a 10 right here. I can take that 10 off. Bigger than a 10.
Is it? It's hard to see under that.
Yeah. Nope, that's a 10.
Okay.
Okay. It's got a little bolt on it. Okay, so the fuel line is free from it now.
Okay.
So we don't have to screw with the fuel line. All right, so then in the front we had these electrical connectors. with squeeze tabs that we have to take off.
Yep. So we're just taking the plastic top off, right?
Yep, that's all we're taking off.
So we need to take the lower intake off now.
And I got another one of these wonderful clips right here. Let's see if we can get one of them off today. They don't seem to really want to let go very well. We got one of them off. Okay, so these are short. You can't really screw these up, so I'm not worrying about that. And then this is tied to that. We've got another electrical connector right here. We'll disconnect over here.
Hey, how's that one come out?
It just squeezed the tab
Squeeze
on,
the
just
tab
like the other ones, yeah.
and pull. Okay.
Yeah, okay, so we get that off. And then I've got a bolt right here holding this
All right, hold on.
bracket on. Looks like these bolts are all the same length too, so.
Okay.
Okay, so, all right, so we got that off. That'll just sit on the intake. So, some foam padding.
Yeah, we were in here the other day doing the front three. And it looks like there's more foam since then. I think something's been in here
Yeah,
screwing around.
eating away, huh?
Yep.
All right, let me get some. We have to suck that all out before we pull the intake
Yeah,
off
it's
with
all
the vacuum
freaking
or something.
foam
So,
from a mouse or something.
yeah.
Ah, what a
so-
pain in the ass. All right, going
All
in.
right, so we got two hoses down here that we got to get off, and the clip for the.
Yep.
So, try and get his phone down in there and take a
Where
quick
am I
look.
looking?
So around the back side here, I've
Yep.
got a hose here and another hose, and then I got the clip. And we can show you guys when we get it off, but that's why we have to take the. So there's one of the hoses, and
Yeah.
it's tough to see the clip, but when we get the intake off, we'll show it to you.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna get these two hoses off right now. I don't know if I can squeeze these with my fingers, probably not, so. And I can,
Steve's going where no man's gone before in this guy.
okay, it's easy to, and get my finger off, and get it around, and get the clip off for the O2 sensor. That was simple. And now, over the top here, you can see one of the clamps is it's right down in the back here.
Okay.
Let me put the
I think I
pointer
see
on
it.
I got the pointer on it right here.
Yep.
The red thing.
Okay.
Okay, so there's one right there we're going to take off, and there's one down the back you can't see. I'm going to use a real small pair of pliers to get in there,
Yeah.
and we'll get those off. Went over the top with these pliers here, and I got on the clamp.
Yep.
I just slid that clamp down, and then the hose slides right off.
Okay.
Now there's another hose similar to that comes in from the side,
Yep.
and that one is not going to be as easy, so let me see if I can get the clamp. I'm going to need some small pliers to get the clamp down right here. There's one clamp right here where the end of the red thing is.
I can see it.
Yeah, so
Yep.
I got to get that one off. And just on the other side of that was the clip that I just bent back a little bit and slipped off for the O2 sensor. So I just got to get this one off on the back, and I think we're pretty close to unbolting the top of the plenum here. So let me get my hand down there and feel the other side of the hose. I'm not sure which side is going to be easier to take off. Okay. The side I can see might be easier. So, let's get that. Try and get around here. I'm trying to move that clamp around.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see it?
Yeah, a little bit. It's kind of my feel here. Okay, I just rotated it. See Okay, you got it rotated now. Now you got to just get in there with the pliers and squeeze it.
That's what we're after right there.
Yeah. All right, let me get the weight over here.
Okay.
There we go. Come down this way. And the pliers are in the wrong. Okay. Okay, I got that one up. Now I just gotta slide the hose off. Okay. There it goes, it just broke the seal. Okay, all right, get that one off. All right, so we're gonna start unbolting the intake here. Let's show you the gaskets that we got. So this is the gasket kit. You know, Mail is a name brand here, so we got a good gasket kit. So we've got these two gaskets here, and then we got this other one. And when we get it off, we're actually going to take this cardboard and lay it across the engine so that we go and change the spark plugs. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 holes here. And so I don't know why we need 2 of these, but we'll see when we get in there, because I think we only need 2. But okay, let's start unbolting it. I'm going to keep all of these bolts separate. So the plenum moved. We got some more foam in here that I want to just try and get out of here.
It's crazy.
Okay. So we got 2 nuts and 4 bolts. And this whole thing is loose now. So now, what are the chances that we forgot to take something off on something like this that we can't see? Probably pretty good.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're going to find out now when we go to lift it off if we did forget something. And I'm looking at it, and I already forgot this because this is moving with this, and this ain't going to come off. So
Yeah.
we're going to get a little pick.
All right, go around the side of you.
Slide.
Is that plastic or metal tube? No.
This is rubber. This is a metal tube.
Yeah, right.
And this is rubber.
In some vehicles they're plastic, and you gotta look and be careful.
Yeah. So just breaking the seal with the pick here. You know, you don't want to pinch the hose.
It's all fun and games, so you pinch your hose.
It's coming off. Okay, all right, so we get that off. Stick that over here. All right. Let's see what else we forgot. Okay, so that's sitting up there. And that's sitting like that.
Oh. You've got to be shitting me.
Okay. All right.
Holy shnikes, it came right out. We did it all.
Okay. All right, so you can flip this over. And, you know, we bought the intake gasket kit, and I think this is for the lower intake.
I think you might be right.
But, so we may only need this orange one. You know, sometimes you can reuse this stuff, but you know, for what Tony paid for this master kit, it
wasn't that much.
very reasonable. So
Yeah.
All right, so let's go take. So now we said we were going to take our plastic here from our paper. You know, the engine is open right now, it's exposed, okay? So, you know, we kind of want to make sure that we don't get anything in it. So I'm just going to take this, get this hose clip that we took off here, right? The other hose clamp went to this right here,
That nipple
okay? And then here's my O2 sensor right here,
Okay.
and it just locked into a clip like right here. And I was able to reach around the back and get it, so it wasn't a big deal. So I've got my engine covered here, okay? So this intake gasket kit is also for the lower part of the intake. We only need the one piece that goes on the top, so that's okay. We pinched off our two coolant lines over here. You know, we've got, this is the second one here, okay? So they're in position to where they went. And we're gonna unplug our coil packs. And
So if you have an ignition coil that goes bad in this vehicle, you better hope it's on the front of the motor.
yeah,
Because this will suck.
okay, so we got 10 millimeters for these. We're gonna crack these loose. I never like to just hammer on these. I always wanna crack these loose by hand, because if it don't move and you break it, you're breaking the valve cover. The nut stud is built into the valve cover.
Yep.
So you do not wanna do that. So
You see the light? The light on it for you.
So I'm going to take the 3 bolts out. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm going to set them up here. Now we can pull all of our coil packs out. And I like to keep them, you know, in order. It doesn't matter if you flip them around. Okay, and those are 12 millimeters on the spark plug. They're not 5/8. 9/16, not 5/8. So we're gonna get our socket, and they're pretty deep down in there. You know, we did the front ones. We'll show you how to get these out. And we're gonna never seize our threads. Like in the other part of the video, we're gonna silicone spray our boots. We're gonna put a little dielectric grease, same procedure we always do. And we're gonna get all that prep work done right now.
So on these right here, we're just gapping the rear plugs like we did on the fronts, doing a little never sees on the threads. I don't want to hear any crap to never sees the threads on the spark plugs. We've been doing this over 35 years, right, Steve?
That's right, and it helps every time.
It helps because more than likely when we get the rear ones out, they're going to stick, and you don't want to snap the top of the plug off because then it'll make your day miserable. So by throwing a little anti-seize on here, it's going to make them easier to come out the next time. And look how big the shank is on that plug. Yeah. It's pretty deep.
People are keeping their cars a lot longer and running a lot more mileage now, depending on the conditions of your where you are in the country. You know, if you're in Alaska, the cars start, they crank slower, the plug doesn't fire off at 100%, and you'll be changing the plugs a little more often, cold climates, and people put a lot more mileage on their cars.
I do.
Now. So
we all do.
So if you're going in at 90,000 miles to change them, and you end up still having the same car at 180, you're going to thank yourself for putting a little never sees on there.
You don't have to glob it on there, just
right,
like a little bit, like a
little bit.
a skim coat.
That's all putting it on is on the thread. So, all right, we're gonna get the 9/16, so we're gonna get these plugs out. All right, so we're gonna put a little dielectric grease on our boots right here, like we do all the time. We're gonna silicone spray these so we can let them dry as we're doing our spark plugs.
Yeah, we're just putting a tiny, tiny dab in there.
I got the silicone spray. I usually hang these over the garbage barrel and spray them. After you get them all back in place, you can cover the tops. And we're gonna let this dry. We're gonna do the other two. So we got the dielectric grease in there, a little dab. And then we'll let these, and this keeps the boot nice and moist so you don't get cracks and a misfire. And that's what goes a lot of times on these coil packs.
It helps to prevent the moisture from getting in, right?
Yep. You got got the light.
Yep.
Okay, so we got our 9/16 socket. Crack them loose.
Get that one broke free.
Yeah, okay, I'll go and do the next one.
There you go. I think these are almost easier to break free than the fronts.
Yeah.
The fronts are on a different angle.
You know, I'm not a big fan of putting an air ratchet on spark plugs. So, you know, this is going to take a couple minutes because you see how much threads are on there.
Yeah, they're pretty long.
I'd rather take them out by hand. You know, this is, you know, the heart of the engine right here. And just take the time. And you hear that squeaking and dragging? You're not going to hear that when we put the new plugs in because they got a little never-sees on them. So we got all the plugs out and, you know, we're looking at them. They actually burn pretty good, you know, for 100,000 miles on the car. So we're inspecting all three of them. And they all look the same. Okay, so that's good. All right. Okay. And like I said, you know, I'm always going to thread these down by hand. Nice and quiet, huh?
Yeah. No metal against metal screeching.
Okay, this snug. All right, it's going to be the same procedure. We're going to do the next two, and then we'll come back and show you when we put the boots on.
Yep.
Okay, so we got all of our plugs in. We got all our boots in ready. We're going to slide the boot down and move the electrical connector. Get that in place. We'll hear the snap for the electrical connector. Go on to the next one. Sometimes these are easier to plug in before you drop them all the way down. And it doesn't matter. It's going to be the same with this one here.
And there's a 10 mil bolt, right? Holding them all in?
Yeah, we'll go over that. So I got this one, and you hear the snap. And then I got our bolts up here. We're going to put a little never-sees on these three bolts. All right, we're going to get our three bolts started. One, two. And this one we got to just move the wire a little bit before. I'm just gonna tighten these down by hand. I don't want to snap these off. There's little nutserts inside the valve cover, and this is all plastic. If you over tighten it, you'll press it right out, and it'll spin, and then that sucks.
Yeah, it does suck.
So I'm just going to use this by hand. Just a little snug on it. That's it. Okay. That's it. Okay, so we've got all of our boots lubed and sprayed, and we got all of our clips back on, all of our bolts tight, so that's all set. We're gonna move on to changing that gasket on the intake right now. We got our little pick here. So we're just gonna get up underneath this thing and pull it up. And you know, yeah, could we probably reuse this, you know, but you're in there, and for the price, it's just really not, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, these gaskets are pretty inexpensive. I'll put a link to the description in the video to them so you guys can grab them. It's worth replacing while you're already in here,
Yeah.
rather than having a leak in like 2 months or something on you.
Okay. We've got these little tits right here that you line up with the little groove right here.
Yeah.
You got one right there, and then you just got a little finesse. You just push them back down in here. Now these were all clean. There's nothing in here, so you don't. I didn't have to blow these out or anything. So
So you just got to make sure your tits are lined up, right?
Yeah, and that the slot is nice and clean. You want to make sure that they're in there good, because this is going to be upside down when we're going to put this thing in. So there's little grippies on these right in here.
Yeah.
And that's what holds them in place. So I'm just going to run my fingers all over to make sure that they're pressed down nice. Okay. And these are all pressed down nice.
All right, our gasket's down in there. Our tits are in place, and now we're gonna go put this intake on, eh?
Exactly.
Hey,
Exactly.
you mentioned it, on me.
Yeah. Okay, so now looking at our, while this is off, we can come over here. You got the light?
No, I thought you had the light. So you gotta do everything?
Yeah. So since we got the intake plenum off here, right?
Yeah.
So this was the back side. This was the clip that the knock sensor harness plugs into. And then we had this one hose clamp that we were able to get from over the top. No, this is the one on the bottom. This is the one we were able to get from over the top over here. So this one we got in from the side. So on the back side, on the passenger side, these are the only three things that you have to take off. And then on the driver's side, we had, you know, these two clips right here. We also had some, a clip for the throttle body that went to the fuel line. And we unbolted that little bracket, and then we get the vacuum hose up front. There wasn't all that much to get this thing off. So, you know, I think you could do this on an average guy can do it in the driveway.
Yeah.
You know, and I had basic tools, you know, to do this. So we'll give you the
It's
torque.
kind of one of those things that looks a little scarier more scary than it is.
Yeah, and we'll give you the torque spec for the intake bolts, but these bolts are not very tight. They're probably, I don't want to say, but they're probably around 18, you know, maybe 10 foot-pounds, 12 foot-pounds, which is not a lot. So it'd be an inch-pound that you would torque this thing in with. So we're gonna just snug these things down, and we'll, you know, look up the torque spec on them, but they're not very tight, and you'll feel it. You'll know when the thing is snug, and that's just going to squish this gasket down flush on top of the intake. Now we're going to go pull the cardboard up on the intake and just wipe that surface down nice and clean. Right, so we've got we wiped down the manifold. Put the light on.
Yep.
We wiped down the top of the intake, and that's all clean. And we've got our new gaskets on, and so we have to come up on an angle. I don't know if you guys remember when we took this up. We got to line up these studs here, these top studs. That one. That one.
Was there two?
Yep, there's
Okay.
one on each side, okay?
Okay.
And it just dropped down in place. So I've got our bolts here.
So I just tried to look up the torque specs for these bolts, and I couldn't really find them. So we're gonna snug them up by hand. You should be safe doing that.
Yeah, I mean, these are tiny bolts, you know,
Yeah.
6mm threads. There ain't a lot of torque on these. You're gonna just get them snugged down, and you'll know. Quarter drive ratchet, snug these down. We've got two nuts, one on each side. So we got our 6 bolts down here, and I'm just gonna tighten them all by hand. I'm gonna run them down so that they're touching. So there's 4 bolts and 2 nuts. It's with the weight of it, it's trying to hang that way.
Yeah.
That's why I'm working all these around nice and even. So once I feel that they're all snug. See, as you tighten them up, some of them get a little looser because it's settling down. Okay, so I'm going to do a crisscross pattern here.
You can see the intake sinking down.
Yeah. I'll tell you, when you feel the nut run down and hits its bottom, I mean, it's tight. So I'm going just a whisker more. It's like they bottom out. I really don't think you can under tighten them. You just got to get them bottomed out. Okay, that one's tight, 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 tight. Okay, so I always like to double check them, triple check them, just because this is, out of the engine here. So, all right, so these are all tight. Now we've got some connections we can stop plugging in real quick. We'll go back in, we'll plug these front ones in. Got this one went up here. This plug popped into place in here. That on there, that's right there. Okay, we've had this rubber hose that we took off right here. You want to inspect these hoses to make sure they're not dry rotted. And we'll slip this one back on. Right to the same spot that it was on. We pressed it onto the same amount right there. Okay, so one of the difficult things on the back of this thing that we had was over on the back over here. And, we've got our hoses right here, which these really didn't move. So, these hoses can slide these back up in place. And kind of get them to go. They got a bottom. So I had to leave all those pliers here.
There's a little ridge on there, huh?
Yeah. Okay, that one's on. And then this one here.
There you go.
Okay. Those are on. We've got our pliers here for the clamps. I want the clamps in the same spot that you took them off of. Preferably, that's the way I like to do it. I can't see. I think this one's got to go up higher. A little bit more. Okay, that's in the same spot. You can feel it that it's past the rib of the hose there. Okay, so we can take these off. We can take this off here. We've got, we had a bolt that we put up here. This one went for this clamp right here.
Yeah, I think this wicked long for a bolster.
Yeah. So we'll start that. We'll plug this back in. All right, we've got the Allen here. We're gonna tighten this up by hand. All of this stuff that goes into aluminum, I don't know. I've been doing it a long time, but I'm never comfortable running this stuff down with an air ratchet. So we're gonna snug this thing up with a ratchet. And this is not crazy torque. These are all small 6mm bolts. That's about it on that. So on this side, we had this bolt right here for the fuel line that we have to get up in place. And that was one of these 10s right here. All this stuff's going in together pretty good. We're going to use a small 10 millimeter socket with a quarter drive ratchet to snug that up. Got one here. Okay, that's tight. And we had, this came up through here. It's just tightening there. Okay. Lock that in place. This one around here. Okay. That's good there. I think that's just a vent right here. We didn't take this off. This looks like just a vent. Oh, this is the vent for the transmission. Okay, so we didn't take this off. It's not what we have to worry about. Okay, so we've got this connector right here to plug in. We heard it click. We've got one more bolt right here to put in. Another 10 millimeter. Come on. Jeez, and crack.
Yeah, well, you get your glasses on.
I don't know.
What's the matter? Old man can't see?
All right, I got that one in. Socket don't fit.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got the front of this all plugged back in. We have a connector there that we took off. We've got our line plugged back into the fuel line. We've got our little vacuum line back on over here. We've got our line on over here for a vapor canister line. So we've got this, the front of this back together. Now, on the back side, we had those two hoses, and you can see one of the hoses here that I can slide on by hand, and then I have to reach in the back with those clamps,
Yeah.
the long clamps.
Yep.
So I'll reach back there with those.
So that line right there is what we're after right now. We're going to slide that on, then we're going to slide the clamp down.
Yeah, and we showed you guys when we had the intake off, the plenum off. So I'm just going to squeeze
I
these.
forgot about that one. I was just showing the other one. Okay.
Sometimes you got to get your hand in there.
Yeah,
and
that's-
drive it forward.
That's what we're after.
Okay. And like I said, I want them, try to get them in the same spot that they were.
Did you get it on?
Yeah. Yeah, that's on. Right to the end there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was straight up. Okay. All right, so that was back. Now, I'm going to reach my arm around back. When you have that short line there that it's going to be tough to get to, and then I'm going to slip the line on
Yeah.
the knock sensor cable back into the holder.
And that was the line I just showed you with that green tip sticking up.
Yeah.
That's the one we're after now.
Yeah, we're going to put that on now. And then,
It's kind of getting done by feel here.
yeah, and you can feel the clip for the knock sensor.
I was going to try to get the camera in there, but I can't see shit. It's a tight spot.
Yeah, it is. Okay, you got the knock sensor clip back on. Now I just got to get this clip, slide this one back down with the small pliers that I have. Right here. I gotta get my arm down in here. Oh, look at that, huh?
There you go.
Okay, so we got the three things back on the back of the intake over here, and So we've got 4 nuts left. 2 for the master cylinder and 2 for the panel over here. So we can bolt this panel back up right now. This is the fuse panel. It's got a couple of studs it sticks out on.
That's 10 millimeter.
Yeah. Most of this job was 10 millimeter. I don't think we haven't even used the 13 millimeter on anything.
Huh, that's good.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna get this other one started and then we can tighten these down. Okay, just gotta snug them up. Jeez, I'll tell them there's no extra bolts.
That's good.
All right, so back on this side. So we got a clamp tighten for the throttle body. We got an electrical connector for the throttle body. We got our coolant lines for the throttle body back on. We've got our fuel line here, the bracket bolting back on. We've got all of this back together. All our connections are back on for our solenoids up front here. And we just got to get the plenum, we have to get the intake. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we shot a video and we did everything we could not to take this.
Airbox cover off.
Yeah, and airbox cover came off pretty easy.
Yeah, dude, we should have just did that in the first
Probably
place.
should have took it off, you know.
Yeah, the heck with it.
I was being stubborn, and we didn't take it off. So we're gonna get it on now. Stuff it on now. Okay, let's slide this down into place. See.
Yep.
We have these clips on the bottom of this airbox. I'm not sure if we're in yet. I don't think we are. This has to go down a little farther.
It's kind of a pain to line that cover up, huh?
It is a pain.
We had a pain the other day lining it up.
Yeah, it's this. It's this clip down here in the back. It doesn't seem like it
Stupid design.
wants to go in. Yeah, it just ain't going down far enough.
That's the problem we had the other day with it. You had to kind of muscle it around.
Okay. Yeah, and you can, now that this is up, you can feel around to the back side here, and you can feel that this is through the cover now.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so you good?
I don't know if I'm good. It feels like I'm. Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. And then, all right, so we got that on, and then slide that on. Got a clip for a vent hose here. And then we had we gotta tighten this 5/16. We've got our electrical connector here. So let me tighten the 5/16 first. I gotta tighten that by hand. I don't want to strip that worm clamp out.
Nope.
Okay, that's tight. And swing the master cylinder up out of the way. I've got this electrical connector to plug back in over here. That one right there.
Okay.
And this is the one thing that the tie wrap broke, which is gonna be fine. We're just gonna sit it back up in place. That pop back into the hole there. And then we've got 2 bolts for this reservoir.
It's gonna.
One here, one there, and this clip plugged back into the firewall here again. Okay, so get those in, that on. We just gotta tighten these 2 10 millimeters here. Okay, all right, we got our air box. We're putting back down into place here. Try and line that up. Okay, that falls in place. Now we put these 2 bolts back in. We're going to take these 2 out. We've got an alignment dowel in the middle here, where my thumb is. Right here, going into this grommet.
Where is it?
See the grommet right there?
Oh, yeah, okay. Yep.
Okay, we got the alignment dowel that lines that up. Pop that in.
You can just thread it.
Okay, start the 10 there. Start the 10 here. I want to inspect to make sure that my box is in snug here. Some of the gasket's falling apart on it, not to worry. All right, we're going to snug this up now. Okay, so we've got everything plugged in. I'm gonna look over the job again, make sure everything looks like everything's plugged in. We're gonna start it up, make sure we have no check engine light. And then if everything is good, the car runs nice and smooth, which I expect it to, we'll just put the air engine cover back on and that'll button it up.